you're wondering why my background is a little different, I seem to have misplaced my trusty little tripod, so my phone is now just rested on some books against a window.
3, 2, 1.
So this past weekend, I ran my first ever race. It was my first time experiencing everything, including like getting a bib, getting the medal, and all of like the adrenaline that goes with it. It was definitely a good experience and I had a lot of fun doing it. I don't know if I would say that I would run another race again. I wanted to experience the racing atmosphere before officially signing up for a half and dedicating myself to that, just to see if I would like it and whether it's for me, because I feel like even if you run, sometimes races would not be for you just due to your personality, and I wanted to make sure that I would do it before I spend like $100 on a race. My goal going into my 10K really was to just experience everything and to see if I like it, and then I also wanted to finish. I mentioned I am training for a half marathon. I don't know if I'm actually gonna do it yet. It's just something that I am putting some effort behind, and if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, then honestly, like I feel like 10K is enough for me. Like a little bit about my running journey, if you want to call it that, is I was never a runner. I was not even athletic growing up. And I feel like a lot of people that I see post videos on YouTube about their running journey and their like fitness journey, a lot of them say that they were semi-athletic, they did sports as kids. Not me. I did absolutely nothing besides play games, sit in my room, even read a book or two if that's what I wanted to do. But I was never the athletic kid. Like every time I picked up a basketball, and I kid you not, every time like my family, my cousins and I would go and play basketball, I would end up injuring myself. I would jam a finger, scrape a knee. Athleticism, not in my genes. My brother got all of that. He did all of the things. I was the studious one. I studied, I worked hard in school, did not play sports, did not run. I did not run a single mile as a kid continuously. And if you asked me before COVID started if I could see myself running a mile, I would have laughed in your face and been like, homie, I don't even know if I can walk a mile. The only sport I played was badminton, and the only reason why I signed up for the team was because I needed a sports cred to graduate. It was the sport that everyone signed up for that didn't want to do a real sport in my school. I'm not saying that badminton is not a real sport, because it is. It is difficult. I was not good at it, and there are people who would beat me with their little pinky playing badminton. But at my school, it was just the sport that you did if you didn't actually want to do a sport. I have an embarrassing story that maybe you'll get to see if I actually end up posting my half marathon vlog. If I end up actually doing one. If not, maybe I'll release a little sneak peek later. Before I started training for my half marathon, I ran sometimes. I first started getting into running during the beginning of COVID, when the only thing you really had to do was just work on yourself. Like I never saw myself as a runner. It was something that I wanted to change in myself. So at the beginning of COVID, I decided that my goal was to run a mile. And if that tells you anything about my athleticism, that was it. Like my goal was to run a mile without stopping. Like some of you may say like, oh, you're just trying to run a fast mile. Let me tell you, my mile time is not fast. It is not in the realm of being speedy. And that's not my goal. My goal is length of time and endurance, not necessarily speed. At the beginning of COVID, I started my training. By training, I mean like I couldn't even finish running one lap. Maybe 30 seconds max. That's how I started my running journey. I really just wanted to tell myself like, hey, let's try it. Let's see what happens. You've always thought that you couldn't run. Let's see if we can change that. And that was my main purpose. So let's fast forward to where I am now. So I would say between when I started running and before I started training for my half, we ran one time a week if the weather was nice. During the past couple of winters, I did not run. I don't like the cold, I don't like the rain, so running in that weather, not for me. During the spring and summer, I would run probably once a week on the weekends. Obviously, with training for a half marathon, you kind of have to run more than I did. So I would say now, when I started training for my half, it's 5 days a week, give or take. I flex to my schedule, so if I'm really busy and I can't get 5 runs in, I don't. I'm following the Nike Run Club half marathon training plan, if you're wondering. So the way they structure it is 5 runs, 2 speed runs, 1 long run, 2 recovery runs. And following that relatively closely, like I said, I would maybe skip a day or 2 here, cut a couple minutes off, or run a couple minutes longer. Their plan is built so it's flexible, and that's what I've been taking it as. So in deciding if I wanted to sign up for a race, I was really reluctant to, because I feel like once I sign up for a race, it's final. There's a chance of failure. When I was thinking about it, I wasn't really sure if I even wanted to do a half marathon, but I feel like a 10K is honestly good enough for me. Like, if I don't run a half, I'm good with running 10K. Like, I'm happy with it. For someone who has never ran before in her life, a 10K is pretty good, you know? So I was like, okay, a 10K is safe. Let me tell you about the little serendipitous things that happened that really was like, oh, this is a sign that you should sign up. You're gonna see these signs and you're gonna be like, that's not a real sign. That's just a coincidence. I feel like a lot of these, it wasn't necessarily a sign, but I took it as a sign. The 10K I was considering was a women's run. I thought the medal and the swag was kind of cute, so that was one of the first things. And then I was shopping at Lululemon, as one does, and I saw a Swiftly pink tee. I was like, wow, it's pink, it's perfect for like the race. It was my size and it was on sale, and I was like, wait, is this a sign? So of course I bought it. Initially my parents were supposed to be out of town that weekend, and I was like, I don't know if I really want to do a race without anyone there, just because I feel like it's nice to have some support. And then like one night I was talking to my parents, and they were like, we're leaving the day after the race. At this point, they didn't know about the race, so it's not like they moved it because I mentioned it. It just happened to be the day after the race. So I said, wow, they'll be able to be there to support me. Is that another sign? I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? There's enough time for you to train for this 10K. Let's just sign up for it. And then I was scrolling on Facebook, as a boomer like me does, and I saw like them say, hey, there's a discount code if you want to sign up for this race. I was like, oh my gosh, like, crazy how they know me. That was the last sign that I needed to sign up for this race. So I signed up for it, and now here I am on the other side. As of my race day, I was 6 weeks into the program, so like almost halfway through. Looked at the program, you could see that they programmed 2 10Ks before, and then my last long run was an 8-mile. But because in preparation for the race, I wanted to treat it like I would treat the half marathon. So I took that whole week and I relaxed a little bit, took more rest days than I typically would, really carbo loaded. So in terms of the week before race week, I did 1 speed run. I did a couple of recovery runs. And that was really it. I did 1 full body workout that week. I haven't done a weighted or actually any workout in a while besides running. And let me tell you, I was in pain the next couple of days, and I was like, if this lasted my race, this is not going to be fun. Friday, it was like an active recovery day. By active, I mean I literally just did a ropes course because I had to with work. Saturday, I completely took off. I didn't do anything. So let me tell you about my race experience. So when I picked up the bib and like the swag and the gear and stuff, I don't know if it's because like it was a really small race that I did or what. When I watch like my race experience videos, I feel like everyone's in like this huge room. Like the expo is like a bunch of different booths, and like you walk around and it takes a while to get through. Not the race that I signed up for. It was like a meeting room, and it had sweatshirts along one side and then the check-in station along the other, and then there's like maybe 2 or 3 booths along the rest of the back wall. And the thing is, so like I said, this is my first ever race, so I didn't know what to expect. And so I checked in. I said, hi, here's my information. And she said, okay, like, go grab your shirt, here's your bib, have fun. And I was like, okay, thank you. And I was like, I don't know if I'm supposed to walk around and like look at the booths, but I was like, I really don't want to get suckered into purchasing anything. So I just took my sweatshirt and I left. I was like, I'm out. Not today. Side note, again, I don't know if it's just my race. The person who was checking me in was very distraught. Like, I could tell she was having one of those days. When they gave me my bib, they didn't give me safety pins. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize that until after I left. And I got home and I was like, I don't know if I have enough. Safety pins aren't something that I keep in my repertoire. But I looked around my house and I was able to find 4 safety pins, all different sizes. So, and like they're not like the small ones that are like good for like probably made for bibs and like that kind of stuff. They were like the big boys, like the fairly large ones. And I was like, it's fine. If I continue to do races, maybe I'll invest in some good safety pins. But for now, I will use what I have. The sweatshirt looks basically like this. It has the logo here, and then it has like the logo on the back. I thought it was really cute, and that's half the reason I signed up for it. The thing that we all wanted, the finisher medal. My first medal ever for anything athletic. Thank you. So race day itself. So the race that I was doing had a hosted hotel where they were like, if you stay at this hotel, there'll be a shuttle from the hotel to the race that you can take. And I was like, okay, that's literally the only reason why I decided to stay at the hotel. Otherwise, I probably would have found someplace cheaper. Like, we found out once we got there that the shuttle that they mentioned doesn't go from the hotel. It goes from a place that's 3 miles away to the race site that was 2 miles away from the hotel. So at that point, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna take the shuttle. I'm just gonna have my parents drop me off in the morning. Because either way, they would have to wake up early and drop me off somewhere. So anyway, so the race day came. I got to the starting line probably 30 minutes early. Quite honestly, I feel like that's when all my anxiety hit me, because I saw all these people who looked like actual runners who were prepping and like running a half marathon and doing everything that kind of made me feel like I wasn't a real runner. And I feel like that's something that, because I always grew up with the mindset of like, I'm not a runner, I'm not athletic, and signing up for a race like this and attending, it's just something that like I have to work through myself. So when I was standing there by myself, I was like, wow, all right, what am I gonna do for this 30 minutes? But the 30 minutes kind of flew by. I basically just vibed by myself. I stretched a little bit, like they had someone lead some warm-ups, and then we were off to the races. So all in all, I would say that my 10K experience was really positive. Literally everyone was so nice. There were just people cheering each other on. It was very wholesome. Personally, I am relatively introverted. Too much stimulus overwhelms me. In the middle of my run, I was just kind of thinking, I was vibing. So during the run, I tried not to compare myself to other runners, whether it was like, oh, this person's faster than me, or I'm faster than this person. I tried to just keep all that like out of my brain and really focus on myself. Of course, like that's easier said than done. And there's like, for the first couple of miles, I was just following this person's pace because I was like, oh, I don't want to go too fast, so I burn out. By the end of the race, I was like, oh, I still kind of have more gas in the tank. And this is an issue that I need to work on, but I was like, I have more gas in the tank, but I don't necessarily know how much more gas, so I don't know how far I can go before I'm absolutely just trashed. So like beginning, I like to take it slow, and they tell you to take it slow at the beginning so that doesn't happen to you. So that's what I did. During the second half of the race, I was like, I wonder what speed I would have gone if there was no one else around me. But I did find seeing the other runners around me as motivation. Like I saw it as like, oh, we're all in this together kind of thing. Like we're all suffering, but we're all suffering together. Misery loves company. I like that aspect of it. I finished the race and then I was like, all right, I'm good. Like I feel great. It's kind of what I needed to kind of put me back on track with my half marathon training, because right now in my training, I'm in a place where I was a little disheartened because my last couple of long runs did not go well, and I don't know why they didn't go well. I'm gonna see how this long run goes, and I decided that if I do a half marathon, I'm gonna do it later in the summer. I initially was planning like late June, early July, just because the way that the program worked out, that would have ended right at one of the races that are in my area. But because of how my recent long runs have been going, I decided to really just say like, it's fine, just push it back, it's not a big deal. I don't know if I would want to do a half marathon race, or if I just want to do like a virtual one, or if I just want to do it by myself. Right now I'm leaning towards signing up for a race because I feel like if I don't have a deadline or I don't have anything that's actually like, here it is, then I won't really push myself to do it. And I feel like signing up for a race logistically makes it easier, so you don't have to plan like, oh, how am I going to carry my water around with me? Am I going to carry my fuel around with me? Or because if you're doing a race, they'll have it there for you. As superficial as it sounds, my biggest motivator to sign up for a race is the medal and the swag. Let me talk about what I've learned. I learned that I can do it. I can do things that I put my mind to. And that's definitely the biggest thing I have gotten out of running, is that I can do things that I didn't think I could do before. Because when I first started, I was like, oh, I could never run a mile. And now I can run a mile. And like after that, I was like, oh, I could never run a 5K. I did that. And now it's like, oh, I could never run 10K. And it's just like progressing and progressing. But before any of you guys say it, I don't see myself running a marathon. I think 4 hours in my head is too many hours. Because when you're running, really, like when I run, I only listen to music and the guided run if I'm doing it. After 1.5 hours, my brain's like, all right, what else do you got for me? Like I'm running out of things to think about. I think a half is where I'm gonna draw the line. I learned that I don't have safety pins at my house. I learned that it was fun. I can push myself out of my comfort zone and have some fun while doing it. I didn't meet any new people. Although the one person that I did match their pace for the beginning, like I mentioned in for the first couple of miles, I was really close, because like she was around my age from what I could tell, and I was really close to just like starting a conversation with her. But I was like, no, that's so weird. And then like I was matching her pace for a good couple of miles, and I was like, you know, I need to not match her pace anymore, because I feel like if someone was matching my pace, I would be like, can you not do that, please? Like when you're driving and someone is driving the same speed as you right next to you, you're just like, can you please not do that? Like I don't know if that's just me or if that's like a common thing, but when someone drives the same speed right next to me, I'm like why are you doing this to me? Please stop. So after I thought about it and I was like, maybe I shouldn't run the same speed as her right next to her. Because if I saw her at the end of the race, I might have said something of like, hey, like I don't know if I would have introduced myself or say like, oh, hey, congrats on finishing. Because she was also by herself, where I feel like a lot of other people were running with friends, their moms. If I did see her, maybe I would have made a friend. The way things shook out, I didn't make any friends, but I feel like now I am definitely a lot more comfortable signing up for a race, and definitely a lot more comfortable running in front of other people. Because the thing is, like, I didn't really tell people that I was doing this. I just told my parents, and I was like, hey, support me if you want. That was basically it. And that is my 10K race experience. Stay tuned to see if there's a half marathon race experience. Thanks for listening. Like, comment, and subscribe. We're just gonna start. Maybe I'll do an intro. Maybe I won't. Who knows? We'll keep things a little spicy. My 10K, but I don't know necessarily what I want to say about this. Let me tell you about my journey. What is that? Oh, my neighbor's coming home. I'm gonna pretend that I'm not YouTubing right now. Okay, and they parked. I need to prop this up real quick because I need to, nuts. I basically just stood there by myself for 30 minutes. Is when I had the most anxiety in my life. Not in my life. Trust me, I'm an anxious person. Oh, this person's faster me. Faster me? Oh, my neighbor just peeked out and she just... Okay. Wow, I'm really not good at this.